G'day fellas, and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today, we're on the Dynasties of the East to watch one of the new civilizations face off against one of the OG civilizations. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunken Lands. Let's introduce our players. Spawning in the north of the map in the color pink, playing as the Byzantine variant, the Macedonian dynasty. It's Chuck Francis. And on the south side of the map in the color orange, playing as the English, just the OG, the classic, its HRE is bad. And look, I gotta agree with him. HRE, terrible. Terrible civilization. Why? Because it's not one of the new ones. Well, and we enjoy playing those civilizations. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a caster game. A pleasure to have your company. A particularly important caster game as well, because this is going to be pretty much one of the last casted games you'll see for a while that isn't an FFA, and that is because we have got something special coming back. Of course, you'll be familiar, returning November 19, and not too long after this goes live. Probably about... what's the time now? Let me take a look. About 12 hours, actually, from when this video goes live. Outback Octagon will be returning, so keep an eye out for it. Of course, all the videos will be provided to you guys here over on YouTube, so don't worry. If you don't miss or if you don't see the action live, you'll be able to catch it here over on YouTube. But let's talk a little bit about what we got going on today. We got ourselves a deer start. Not a bad little deer start as well here for HRE is bad. 5 vills on, rather 6 vills on the deer, and then 3 villages on the gold. Also went for an early survival techniques as well. Let's check in on the other side of the map as we've got the same thing happening here for Chuck Francis. He is looking to go for a deer start as well. Look at the positioning, by the way. Can we just talk about how amazing this positioning is right here? All the resources at the back, and oh, what a nice guy. Herding in the deer for him. I think he was even trying to get that last little shot. Oh, what a friendly fella. Now, I will also just note that Chuck Francis does actually stream. So if you want to check him out, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can catch him live. Keep in mind, he's a Conqueror 3 player. He knows what he's doing. So if you like the cut of his jib, then make sure you check it out. By the way, he went for this gold instead of this gold. And to be honest, it's probably a little bit closer to the town center, but I don't know. There's just a part of me that wants to centralize everything. And hey, you can get yourself a nice little mining camp out here that touches both of these. So why not take it? But he probably put it down quite early anyway. So let's talk a little bit about the Macedonians, what we can expect, what we can hope to see. Well, I hope to see some early Varangian Guard. Varangian Guard are a cool unit. I also hope to see some cataphracts today. I've been having visions of this strategy. The only trouble is it's been largely overshadowed by the Mongol variant. The Horde have just absolutely ruined it for me. What's my vision? My vision is simple. You go Imperial Age and you spend all of your silver on cataphracts. That's my vision. The reality is that Tor goods, it turns out, are quite good. In fact, much better at doing it. So it just doesn't really make sense to do it with the Macedonians when you could just do it with the Golden Horde instead. Anyway, let's check in on that south side, see how we're doing. No age ups coming through yet, and a bit of a weird decision here. We've gone for a wheelbarrow as well, but it's a little bit late. Normally you don't see it this late, but we'll allow it. We'll allow it. It's a Conqueror 3 player, so we'll allow him to make this sort of decision here. Age up will be coming through shortly. Not the earliest of age up either. 3-minute 20 is going to be when the click up happens. Let's see which way he goes. I suspect it's probably going to be an Abbey, though. He's got vills moving forward. It's only the 2 vills as well. It is going to be the Abbey, so does he look for a second TC here? He's got the option for stone, obviously, towards the front of his base. English naturally very good at going into that second TC, but it doesn't look like it. In fact, quite a few villages here on gold, so is there potential for a fast castle? It could be an option. It could be an option, so we'll keep an eye out on exactly what the play is here for our English player on the south side. Meanwhile, towards the north, we've got the Imperial Hippodrome coming up. Now, of course, it's quite a bit different from the original Byzantine Hippodrome. The primary thing is that it's got access to champions, so they provide nice buffs to all the units that are around them, depending on what those units are and depending on what champion you've got. So the first champion you get, the Champion Scout, gives a nice little buff to torch damage, particularly strong in the early game, and I suspect quite strong in the late game if you wanted to go for a landmark snipe. Then you've got a buff to, if I remember correctly, the Radari buffs infantry movement speed, the Champion Radari. I'll have to double check that. That comes with an aura that increases damage of torch. That's the Scout. And then we've got the Radari. Yeah, movement speed of nearby infantry. The main one that you want is the Horseman, because it enhances the damage of nearby cavalry. So there's definitely quite a benefit of having that. But Now towards the front of the base, we see the Varangian arsenal coming up. The horsemen about to pop out as well for Chuck Francis. So looking to get aggressive early on in this game. And realistically, where's the point that he's going to hit? I guess down towards this position. Outpost coming up on the gold as well almost makes me certain that this is going to be a castle age timing here. And we can see it's just the one vil building up the outpost. Now keep in mind, outpost is going to take a minute. Is it going to take you a minute to run across the map? Probably not. But look, we've got plenty of vils and we're playing English. We're going to be fine when we're defending against this horseman. Champion Scout now going to be coming out as well. We'll ride on board with Chuck as he begins to make his way across the map. Fair bit of damage here as well on this Scout, 7 damage. I tell you what, I played quite a bit up against the Macedonian dynasties, and you definitely underestimate the amount of siege they can put out early on, because you've got like the normal Scout, and then you've got the pro Scout. I was going to call him the Hippodrome Scout, excuse me. And then you've got like, they make like 2 or 3 horsemen, and you kind of underestimate just how much torch damage they do. It's quite a bit. But we can now see our English player is spotting out the Scout location here. Movement towards the front side of the base. We'll see whether or not he looks to put some pressure on. Checking in, there's now been a second villager added to the outpost, and of course, naturally that gives him that safe little position here. Still got quite a bit of food out here. 80 on this carcass, 74 on this one. Did I... No. Those are different carcasses. So realistically, he doesn't have anything to lose out here. And this is such a smart move as well by our English player today, because he's going to be forced away from this position, right? And this feels bad. But the reality is he's absolutely fine, because look at all the sheep he's got under the TC. He's got 18 sheep under the TC. He hasn't touched any of them. I mean, you can see he's working on one at the moment. That's 18 alive sheep. Each one of these, 200 food. That's 3,600 food right there. Not to mention the fact that he's got berries. Not to mention the fact he's got the cheapest farms in the game. He's a happy camper right now, but I love the fact that he keeps the villagers out here for now. I've got a sneaky suspicion these villagers may actually transition, or at least a couple of them, over onto gold. So we'll keep an eye on what his play is. Upgrades now starting to come through for Chuck. Looking to pick up the +1 armor for cavalry. Now keep in mind that won't show on your UI at the top, so we'll have to keep an eye out on those upgrades as they do come through. But one of the great things about this upgrade is if you're just looking to commit to cavalry at early stages of the game, then you're going to get both that +1 melee as well as that +1 ranged defense, which is very nice. And then on top of that, you also get a little bit of a health boost, a little bit of a HP boost, which is definitely quite nice, and it definitely adds up over the course of the game. The next champion has now arrived. It's going to be the Hippodrome Horseman, so we can see it provides that increase of +2 damage to nearby cavalry. So keep in mind that does include your Scout. That does include the lesser damage of the Scout. But now the King going to be coming out here. The first time we're seeing this for the game. And in fact, both players looking to go for that fast castle age and have a look at this Scout positioning, or rather this King positioning. Absolutely perfect here. Might be able to deny the age up. He's going to try his best to siege it down. I don't think that's the right call. And immediately we start to see those villagers doing a little bit of a shuffle here. He wants to try his best not to lose any of them. That's going to be one going down. I think he's going to have to cancel. I don't think there's any way you can really contest the King here. He's going to try and juggle these villagers. You can see that the pathing is not the best, and unfortunately, oh, beautiful pathing right there. Chuck going to try and do his best to keep that villager alive, but that's 2 going down. Definitely unnecessary losses right now for Chuck, and it feels really bad to be losing these villagers this early on. That's 3 villagers taken out. This King getting a massive value here, but you can't help but feel like there's potentially more value that he could be getting. I'd be committing for a 4th vill. I reckon, you know what, a 4th vill at this stage of the game? Absolutely. You can definitely justify purchasing another King, you know, for the cost of that villager. I guess the reality is he's got the second TC up behind the scenes here, so he'll be a-okay when it comes to that economy, right? Like, his economy is scaling. He's done decent damage here, so if he just gets the King out, that's 1 more unit that he's got to defend. Probably the right call here from HRE is bad. So, well played. Stable now going to be coming up as well. We'll be looking to transition into knights at this stage. Also keep an eye out for that monastery as well. We can see he's starting to stack up the wood in the bank. He's got plenty of gold there as well, and it looks like our King does make it back safely with 19 health. Quickly, he will be healing up underneath the power of the Abbey. Let's check in back on that north side of the map. Now, keep in mind, we do have ourselves a bit of a beautiful landmark right here. Let's talk a little bit about this Golden Horn Tower. So first and foremost, it is a pseudo keep. It is basically, think of it like the Chinese keep. Now, you can garrison inside it up to 10 villagers, and it fires a crossbow. A very, very powerful crossbow, but basically works the same way as the Chinese keep does. On top of that, it also trains crossbows. So it is quite nice. There's a whole lot of crossbow themes around this landmark, so I'm a big fan of it. I like it a lot. It's in a good spot here as well. It hits the stone, covers the stone, covers the gold, and of course covers the deer up here, and he'll be looking to centralize his economy up towards this northern position, so it definitely provides that good cover. Monastery being thrown down here as well for Chuck. On the other side, have we got our monastery coming up? Indeed we do. So both players looking to definitely pick up relics at this stage of the game. Normally what you see happen here is that players are going to try their best to collect as many relics as they can and deny those relics from their opponents. So we'll see exactly what the play is going to be here as Chuck begins making his way across the map here. Normally the way that I like to do it is focus on relics on one side of the map with my monks. So like I might go pick up this one, I might go pick up this one, and then I'll keep my army over on these other two. And then that way I've got sort of like, you're picking up one set of relics and at the same time you're denying the other set with your units. But unfortunately, we can see here Chuck a little bit out of position. I don't know whether or not he would have changed the outcome of that little engagement, but unfortunately, a monk goes down. And it's important to remember that there's not a lot of health on these units. So very easily, you're able to come in, snipe these units out, and we can see Chuck now beginning to move over. He knows that that relic has gone and missing. He spots out a monk. He's going to be able to hit him with a fair bit of damage here. He's going to go down. Does he spot out that second one? We know there's a second one nearby as well, and you can see just on the outskirts of that line of sight there, Chuck unfortunately doesn't see it. Second armor upgrade now going to be coming through for our cavalry. He's up to +2, picks up a little bit of extra health as well. Now, we do also have the hero Radari, or the champion Radari is probably the better way to say it. This guy is going to provide that bonus to infantry movement speed that is nearby. So not particularly useful when you're going for this cavalry strategy at this stage. Now, Chuck is really looking to play into the Radari. The Radari is very powerful. A number of reasons why the Radari is powerful. Have a look at the health pool. I mean, this is the Hippodrome Radari, so it's a little bit more absurd than what the normal unit is, but he's going to make it all the way through here. He's got the option to try and... Oh, he's going to contest it. Falls back away. Now comes through for a charge. Throw that relic back inside, sir. You're not getting any more Walla Lols. And indeed he does. He puts it away. Monk going to go down here, but the villager number is starting to fall. Down to 45 villagers at this stage. Lancer in here. Crossbows also coming out, looking to assist. And you can see just how powerful these Radari are. They're knight replacements for this civilization. Have a look at these stats as well. 264 health, 26 damage. Compare that to the knight, 230 health, 24 damage. So quite a bit of difference there, and that's obviously not including any potential damage upgrades that are going to be coming through. So it's quite nice to have this. On top of that, you've also got the ability to throw axes if you're into that type of thing, which I can assure you at the high level, players are definitely interested in that type of thing. Let's check in on that north side though and see how Chuck is doing. How's the economy going for Chuck? At the moment, throwing in a couple of farms. No sign of a second TC just yet. But he's looking to keep that villager down. Rather, that villager count down. Crossbowman firing off. Not able to find a decent connection. Relic number 1 on the way back now for Chuck. He's still got decent control here of this central relic. He's going to be able to pick this one up. We've got the third one in the back, so he should at the very least be getting 3. And we're now going to be guarding up this southern relic down on the south side here with our English knight. So overall, it looks like the split is probably going to be a 3-2 split, which is pretty standard, pretty stock standard. That's normally what you see in these games. Often it falls to this just simply because you've got normally 1 relic on either side of the map for each player, 3 contested, and there's a good chance you're going to get at least 1 of those contested relics if it's a relatively fair matchup. But now the numbers continue to build. One of the things I absolutely love about this landmark is the fact that you can make crossbows out of it. Or not that you can make crossbows, but you get crossbows for free. And when it comes to this civilization, you don't typically make archery ranges. What another interesting thing to note is that we've got a stable being thrown down by Chuck here when he didn't actually need to do that. He could have just gone into the Varangian stronghold instead. And that gives him a little bit of flexibility about which unit he wants to make. Does he want to make his unique spear? Does he want to make his Varangian guard? Does he want to make his unique archer? Or does he want to make his Radari, the unique heavy cavalry? And it allows you that flexibility. Of course, it's a little bit more expensive to do it that way, especially if you know I'm only going to be making Radari, so I don't need to worry about that. But it's always nice to have it in the back pocket. But just further to what we were saying about earlier, if you want to make crossbows, the only way to do that is to build an archery range. And this allows you to retain that flexibility of going into the Varangian stronghold without having to put down the archery range and still being able to get those crossbows. So I think this is quite a nice landmark to be able to take into the mid-game. Let's check in on the south side as we've got our English player really starting to go ham when it comes to the economy. Quite a few farms now looking to come down here. Of course, you can always look to go out further, right? Like if we take a look at the corners of these maps, they've been relatively irrelevant throughout this game so far. We haven't seen either player make moves towards this position. And of course, there's plenty of food out here. If we were to calculate this, you're looking at 350 times 5. So you're talking, what's that, 1750? And then you've got the huntable boar. So already you're looking looking at more than 4,000 food. Each of these berry bushes, you've got 6, 12, so 250 in each of them. There's a lot of food out here. I'm not going to do the math because I'll be honest with you, quick math has never been my strong suit, the same way it has been for Big Shack. But it's a lot of food that's out there, and the consequence of going out there is that it's dangerous. Your army's not really that close. That's a lot of crossbows here. He's going to try and make a move. I think this is a little bit of a silly move coming through from Chuck here. This is way too many crossbows. The reinforcements together with these crossbows, I think he's going to be able to find a really decent cleanup here. But the Radari is strong, and he's cleaning. He's actually doing work. I absolutely underestimated. Those Radari are so powerful, man. Just that extra little boost of health makes all the difference in that situation. I also think maybe our English player just wasn't kiting enough early on. Like, it almost looked like he was a bit taken by surprise, the fact that there were all these Radari in his base killing his units. But I still can't help but feel like maybe Chuck traded a little bit bad there. Like, obviously he did relatively well in the sense that he killed all the crossbows, but I still feel like he also took a fair bit of damage there with regard to the amount of units that are back here. King's going to go down, easily replaced. Let's check back in on that north side, see how we're doing. Varangian Arsenal number 2 now going to be coming up here. Yes, it is number 2. What are the numbers looking like at the moment? We've got 76 per minute coming through on that silver count. We're at the 16-minute mark here. We can switch it over to income. Let's get an idea on where these economies currently stand. You would expect that our English player is probably going to be a little bit higher than his opponent. We're looking at about 2k, maybe 2.1, 2.2k for our English player. And on the side of Chuck, you're looking at, what do we got? 1.2, 1.8, 1.9-ish, maybe 2.2. So pretty much stock is about the same, to be honest. The economies are very, very close. Perhaps there was a little bit of idle time on the south side, and that's why we see that. But we'll keep an eye on it as the game continues to progress. Now we've got those spearman numbers that have come out here. You can see he's put down a whole bunch of production in the back of the base. Exactly what you need to see when you've got these English players that go for the 2TC. They've just got such a massive economy, so you really need to make sure that you've got plenty of production there, and you do not want to be skipping any cycles. We've got walls starting to come up as well. There's some good little spots for walls out over on this west flank, so keep an eye out for that. But for the main point of this game here, the crossbows begin to push up. Sacred Site victory is now on the cards. And I can't imagine Chuck sticking this fight out. But, I mean, I've said that already before for a game. Let's see whether or not he's going to pop the throw axes, because I think that would make the most sense here. You can run the double-ranged combination here. Let's see if he remembers. Springald emplacement also going to provide a little bit of cover fire here as these crossbows continue to work it down. Surely he doesn't continue to push in underneath the Springald emplacement. Who knows? This Chuck guy, he's on another level. I'll say that right now. And definitely not what I suspected in this game. Farm's a little bit offset from the town center. He will lose marks for that. I'll say that right now. He loses marks for the farms that are offset. You want them in line. You have to put them in line. The obsessive compulsive disorder requires that we put them in line with the town center. This is not allowed. Chuck, come on. Come on, Chuck. We expected better. Vil count looking pretty convincing here for English. Once again, let's check with those economies. So you're looking at 1k, 2k, 2.5-ish k for Chuck. And on the other, yeah, okay, now we're cooking it with gas here. So now looking at about 3k for our English player. So we're starting to build that lead despite the difference in relics and sacred sites. Keep in mind, we do have the sacred sites that are trickling in that gold as well. So starting to look quite a lot of gold in the bank here. Does he look for an Imperial here as a potential option? That could definitely be one of the ways that he looks to leverage this. He's already been playing into cavalry quite a bit, and if we check with the upgrades, he's going into the 3rd level. I absolutely love this. Once again, I'm just going to state, I would love that if we just put even just 1 point into the attack. You know, it feels like you're spending 1,000 silver on this. Like, we could justify 175 on just a little bit of attack here, just to help us out. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the armor is obviously the king when it comes to it. Now, on the south side of the map, our English player spots out this raid, but unfortunately Chuck is running straight towards the farms. He just comes up a little bit short here. Meanwhile, towards the backside, horsemen are coming through. They're going to be cleaned up by the crossbows. At least that's my suspicion here. Perhaps it'll be the villagers that do the rest of the dirty work. Vil's now on the run. Radari going to pop their throwing axes as they manage to take out another villager here. Reinforcements coming through. Spots out the 2 relics and says, I know where you live. Now towards that top side, the horseman does go down. Meanwhile, Radari chased away from the main base. Our English player, I think at this stage of the game, the English player has played it pretty well here. I don't think that there's too many things that we can really fault him with the exception of like the micro here on the crossbows that he was just kind of taken by surprise, and I think most people would have been taken by surprise there. You see that many crossbow, and you don't expect a guy with all that heavy cavalry to just run headfirst in, but Chuck Francis, I tell you what, he's taken a bit of inspiration from a fellow Chuck Norris. He is one bold individual. And indeed, Age Up now coming through. In our top right-hand corner, we'll see our Palatine School being thrown down here for Chuck. Keep in mind, this is where you pick up your cataphracts. And they come out elite. They're already upgraded, and that's part of the reason why I love it. Now, he's got 1,600 in the bank, which is actually a pretty decent amount, considering how early this is. This is before 20 minutes, and I will call that a fast Imperial. It's not the fastest, right? We've seen Beastie do his 8-minute or 9-minute Imperial ages. It's not the fastest one, but it's still pretty quick. You know, when it comes to tempo, he's got options. He's only sitting on 92 population. So he could double down on military. He could look to add in a second TC. Instead, he's going down this route. And I love the fact he's also got the keep. The keep is so lovely. This, I absolutely adore this keep. One of the biggest components whenever you're going Imperial Age is being cautious of an enemy push. And what do we see now as this is beginning to happen? It's an enemy push. They're beginning to mobilize. So how do we stop that enemy push? Well, we can just put a keep down. People typically don't want to fight underneath a keep. It is a dangerous act if you were to do that. Often you see players overextend with those keeps and they stay a little bit too long and the boiling oil comes and everybody dies and you're just asking yourself, why did I do that? But now, our cataphracts are on the field. An extra 61 health. You can see the stats on them are pretty ridiculous here. And my suspicion is he's probably just going to be investing almost all of his silver at this stage into the cataphracts here. We could potentially look for just a couple of attack upgrades at the moment. He doesn't have any of them. So something to be aware of. Horsemen now going to be chasing down the Radari. Sacred Sites neutralized. Spears in the back of the base. Going to be able to take out the Varangian arsenal. Crossbows helping to clean it up. No elite crossbows just yet. We can see the Radari upgrade is on the way, though. Cataphracts now beginning to help defend. No healing units out, with the exception, I think he's got those monks. Those monks are still on the field, so he could look to heal up those cataphracts. Radari able to clean up the horsemen as well. And Chuck Francis looking pretty good as this Imperial Age is starting to peak here. We've also got more upgrades coming through on the way of our English player. He's also going to be looking for an Imperial Age any minute as well. So probably within the next 30 to 60 seconds, we'll see him dropping down a wing guard somewhere safe in the back of the base. Probably somewhere right there might be absolutely perfect. And these Radari just continue working through the cav. The spears are going to come forward here, and you can see him just being very cheeky, just picking off 1 or 2 units. Now, what kind of numbers are we looking at for the armor? Yeah, ridiculous amount of armor. 8 armor coming out for these units. A quick wall up towards the north. Successful once again. Is he gonna try and repair this wall? Doesn't look like Chuck. Oh, he's going for it. He's going for it. Looks like the damage. one villager just didn't get the correct message here. But now, beginning to push across the map. It's going to be a Berkshire. He's throwing the Berkshire down in the front of the base. An interesting decision to go into Berkshire here. I don't really see a lot of value for it. It's nice in that it defends the gold vein, but there's only 2.2k left in it. Maybe he's a bit worried about this imminent push that's coming through. Like, these spears are a little bit caught at this stage, and he's fearful that he's going to die right here, right now. But the numbers still look decent. The charges come out. Cataphracts making their way onto the back line. Just going to head straight over to the villagers. Vill count is double what his opponent is right now. Chuck really needs to go ham if he wants to bring this economy back. And he's not going to have to worry about economy the way he keeps going. And you can definitely see maybe the call was absolutely right to go into Berkshire here. He's able to get, if he's able to get this up, he should be able to hold. The question's going to be about how many vills he loses. He's lost 21 already this game. The Berkshire is trying to get up. You can see, where are the villagers? There's 5 villagers on this top side here. More spears coming through. All the cataphracts working to take these vills down. It's got a couple of what are these things called? My brain, it's doing that thing that it does again. Oh my god. Oh, it's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me. They use it on the outside of houses. They use it when they're building. Oh my lord. Dude, give me a second. Okay, I got it. Sorry, scaffolding. I was literally typing the question into Google, and then it came to me, the scaffolding. We could see just a remnant of scaffolding that was there. And fortunately, we were able to get the landmark up in the end. But at what cost? I mean, 31 villagers taken out now in this game. That's definitely gone up quite a bit here. And the question that is in my mind is, have you reduced the power of the economy for the English enough at this stage of the game now to justify a big push? And what type of push are we going to see? It looks like we could potentially see one of the most expensive pushes you could do in Age of Empires 4. Hand cannoneers, cataphracts, and Radaris. That is a powerful, expensive push, but it is a push that I think makes a lot of sense. Why does the hand cannoneer make sense for the Macedonians? Let me explain. If you want to build, let's say, an archer or a crossbow, it's imperative that you pick up upgrades for them because the damage that they've got is not significant. When you pick up those upgrades, you go from 6 damage to 7 damage, from 7 to 8 damage. Every time you pick up an upgrade, it is a massive bump to your bottom line stats. But when it comes to the hand cannoneer, it does 38 flat damage. You don't really care that much about upgrades on this bad boy. It is already absolutely chunking anything that comes close to it. And because of that, you can basically just make the unit without ever having to worry about upgrades. And I think that that's quite smart in this situation because Chuck, he's looking to really focus on his cavalry. He's picked up +3 with regard to his armors at the moment. No other upgrades in any other factor. It's only in those armor upgrades that he's really looking to play into. And so because of that, I think it makes a lot of sense for him to do that. Now, we do have a second TC that has risen. He's about 20 villages behind. But keep in mind, he does have 1 extra relic over his opponent, so that might make a difference. I think the other thing to note is Macedonian late game economy is not anything to write home about. The only exception is the silver. That is really it. But now cataphracts make a good connection. Once again, he takes out 6 villages here. Hand cannoneers have come up. He's going to need to do his best to defend them because the horseman numbers are building as the reinforcements come through. But Chuck really looking to get aggressive out on the map here and deny everything he can from his opponent. This keep over on the east side is really going to shut it down. If we take a look from his perspective here, you can see he's basically secured this entire corner now because of this keep. And now a lot of spears making their way towards the 4 here. He's going to continue kiting away. Let's take a look and see. Have we actually, I was about to say, have we got the university up? No, the Macedonians don't get access to a university, so he's definitely not going to have access to serpentine powder for his hand cannoneers. So it just means he's going to be playing with old school hand cannoneers. Good micro coming out from Chuck now in this game. Spears are going to move forward once again. Let's see if we... I'd like to see those Radari throwing axes. That's a cataphract, Drongo. There we go. I'd like to see the thrown axes just to help him out in situations like this. Like when you're kind of kiting the spears back and forward, you can see he's still working this keep, trying to get it up, wants to deny this gold. Incredibly important here that this happens. But now, hand cannoneers forced away from this fight. The horseman numbers still looking good. Cataphracts are going to do a bit of screening. Definitely makes sense. And now the charge comes through. Gets the damage out. Keep gets up. And in the end, with the keep coming online, it means that he should be able to deny this gold from his opponent. And then we look to other positions on the map. But of course, with this keep coming online, that's only the beginning of the end for this keep. Now, there are other locations on the map. We've got another 4k gold over here, another 4k gold over here. So there's plenty of gold still on the map. But one thing that's interesting is Chuck is the guy who's going after it. Chuck is looking to put down more keeps here. And I think, you know, credit to him. He is really thinking quite far ahead here in the sense that controlling the resources allows you the ability to make those gold-heavy units. And he's still got gold in the back of the base, only 500, so not a huge amount. He's got the sacred sites, he's got the relic advantage, even though it's slight. So far, things are looking good for Chuck. My main question just really comes down to the economy, because if we think about, like, the English economy, it is famed for how good it is. Not only have you got these cheap, affordable farms so you can spam them, but you've got this bonus that the mill provides in the Imperial Age. It's a 30% bonus. On top of that, you're also generating gold every time you just exist. So it is, there's a lot going for you here when it comes to the economy, and we can see that reflected in the amount of resources he's generating. At the moment, sitting at more than 5,000 he is clearing. Compared to his opponent, nowhere near that. Nowhere near that number on the Macedonian side. So despite this powerful combination that he's going for militaristically, there's a little part of me that just fears the fact that perhaps his economy is not going to be able to ever really catch that of the English freight train. But now, the trash is truly coming out for our English player. Spamming spears together with horsemen. I love it. I absolutely adore it. This is the classic English composition. Who needs gold? We don't need gold. We're fine. You can keep all the gold. You can deny all the gold you like from me. I'll do my best to try and grab it. Oh, look at this. He's got battering rams out here. Treb's also going to try and work it in, but not going to be finding any success today as Chuck Francis loses both of the Trebs. And look at that military number now. 70 versus 17. How quickly things have turned around. Chuck scrambling to defend here as the Radaris are what's left. Handful of hand cannoneers as well. Crossbowmen yet to receive that upgrade. Unfortunately, still those Castle Age crossbowmen, and not particularly effective against these trash units, right? These are not gold units, and because of that, they're not heavy. And because of that, the crossbows aren't going to be getting those bonus damage points that they normally would be against those gold-heavy units. We do have hand cannoneers building on the side of the English as well. Armor cladding now going to be coming in. Should be able to help him out when it comes to that offense. Rallying in plenty of units here, but for the moment, Chuck able to hold, able to defend. The main problem that he's got is it feels like the map is starting to wear away from him. He's lost out this eastern position, cleaned up by the battering rams and the keep. Now over on the west side, he's still got these positions that are up and alive. A lot of units underneath it have unfortunately died. The villagers survive. And a bit of a raid coming through. Once again, back over on that west side. Ville's now going to be trying to work down the enemy Villes. He's brought 12 with him. No textiles means that they will get the one-shot through. I mean, I think they probably one-shot through it with +3 ranged attack as well. Bloomery on the way, rather decarbonization on the way now for our English player as well. So really looking to get those upgrades in. And with this, I mean, the villagers have done a decent job in denying the enemy villagers, but they may potentially go down here. He's up about 50 vills at this stage of the game, so I think he can afford to lose just a handful. He'll be okay. Spears together with the horsemen. The longer I see this, the more I feel like the English is in better position. It really just becomes a question of the late game for the Macedonians and the power that they've got from that silver deposit. How much is it actually able to generate? We've got 165 silver here, 76 on this one, 57 on this one. It's not a lot. It's really not much. 76 here. And perhaps this is potentially a map issue in the sense that there's only small amounts of silver that you can really generate here unless you're able to secure these 4K gold veins. And even then, you know, it's only a 4K gold vein. You know what I mean? Like, if that normally would be giving you 200 silver a minute. I mean, this is a decent amount, yeah, because it's a 4K gold vein. But I guess that's a little part of my theory, right? Like, my thinking with the Macedonians is it probably makes sense to go into a second TC. Just because the more TCs you've got, the more vills you've got. And the more vills you've got, the more gold that you're mining, and therefore the more silver you're generating. So you're very much doing a decent job of building that economy. But we don't see that here. Chuck goes for the town center late, and because of that, it really feels like his economy is falling behind. But despite that, we've seen that number, that military number, look particularly attractive for the English just a minute back. And despite that, Chuck is pushing back. Chuck has got these gold-heavy units right now. He doesn't care. He does not care. He says, Drongo, I don't care about the fact that my economy is weaker than my enemies. I've got the powerful units. I've got these cataphracts. He's picked up the +4 upgrade as well. So we are well and truly on our way to maxing these bad boys out. Now, sacred sites have been captured here by our English player. My fear right now for the English player, where is his military? He's sitting at only 28 military pop here. Now, of course, he's playing English. He could pop a whole bunch of units out of here if he wanted to. Where are they, though? Now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned on the English side. He's going to try his best to defend here. He's not under the Berkshire, interestingly. Doesn't want to fight under it. Lost a whole bunch of units. This could be bad. This could be really bad right now for our English player. Now, I don't actually know who this English player is. I know he's from Germany, so that kind of narrows it down to like 143 people that play Age of Empires at a Conqueror 3 level from Germany. There's a lot of them. Is it Krakeny? Maybe. Is it Core? It could be. Is it Zerton? It could be. Who else could it be? Maybe Lash? I don't know. It's not really Lash's playstyle. I think Lash is a bit more of a defensive player. Whose playstyle does this match the most? Maybe Zerton. Zerton's got a particularly aggressive playstyle. Avoids the 1TC normally, at least from what I can remember. Okay, so from the English perspective, how does he look to play this one out from here? He's going for a raid towards the north side. I think that's definitely the play. I think you just bide your time if you're playing as the English here. You drop your university, if he hasn't already. Look to try and pick up those upgrades. Let's take a look and see. Can we find that university? There's the university. So he's picked up elite army tactics. No incendiary arrows just yet. He's got the hand cannoneers out instead. I think, like, this combination that he's got is perfect. Hand cannoneers, horsemen, spearmen. I think that's absolutely perfect. Just keep running with that combo. You just got to let it build, though. Like, he's still missing out on 25 population. I wouldn't be fighting this right now unless I'm maxed. I feel like you need to be fighting maxed. But he's going to try and take the fight anyway. Cataphracts falling back away from these hand cannoneers. The mass is really quite powerful now, but he's only got that handful of spears. Look at this. Only 6 spears on the front line. As soon as these spears get taken out, you've got a problem. Those Radaris, we saw how powerful they were earlier up against that against that crossbow mass. You know, what was it? 12 minutes, 13 minutes in? Is he going to look to do the same thing here? No, he's taking the bait onto the villagers. Keep in mind, we've got a lot of villagers for our English player. Horsemen now going to come forward as well. And all of a sudden, we've got a flip to the other side. bonus damage. We don't see that Serpentine powder coming through just yet, but he does have the bonus attack speed coming through from the network of castles. Has he picked up the upgrade? Not quite yet. No network of citadels just yet. It does have that English defensive advantage with the network of castles. So this is just, it's such a tough game to try and call which way it's going to go, because you've got these super duper powerful units, but just not really an economy to match it and to get them out there. And by the same token, on the English side, you've just got this huge economy, but the units are just kind of like, with the exception of the hand cannon they're nothing too exciting. Let's just put it that way. We'll check in over with Chuck though and see how he's doing, as both sacred sites are now taken by our English player. And Chuck, he's under pressure. The keep is slowly falling here. He's also going for some forward farms. Not typically the best spot to put them. Checking back in with the economy here for him. He's picked up all of these eco upgrades, with the exception of lumber preservation. He hasn't gone into lumber preservation at all. Interesting. How many vills has he got on wood? He's got 21 vills on wood, so I think that's probably just an oversight more than anything. A lot of vills repairing here. You're going to go out of stone so quickly. Indeed he is. But now beginning to push forward. Cataphracts together with a hand cannoneer is a lovely combo. Radari on the front line. Trebs firing off towards that keep. So at 3.2k health, and now Cataphracts make a connection onto the backside. A couple longbows mixed in here as well. Spears nowhere to be seen. You can see he's got barely a handful at the front. The hand cannoneer is able to rip through them, but still, it's hand cannoneer versus hand cannoneer. The back lines remain. The question's going to be about who's able to get those reinforcements in and take this out. As I said, I really think it comes down to just making sure you're constantly fighting maxed in this situation, as the English looking at this stage, you just want to reinforce 100% horsemen. I don't think you even need to really reinforce spears, just mainly because you've got enough hand cannoneers to eat through all of that cavalry. The main threat that you've got here is your enemy hand cannoneers. We'll check in on the side of our English player and see how he's doing here. Now, keep in mind, he's got the second sacred site. He's also throwing down plenty of barracks here. A lot of barracks on the front line. This is exactly what you want to do in a situation like this. He's looking to try and contest both of these sacred sites, or rather hold both of these sacred sites. So he wants to do everything he can to make sure those reinforcements are closer to the middle. This is definitely the right call. His positioning is very, very good. Now over towards the west. Couple horsemen make their way over towards the gold vein. Now, he's got the mining camp hooked up to the Varangian arsenal, so he is going to be picking up that extra silver. At the moment, up to 1,100 silver. Not a bad amount of income when it comes to that silver passively generated. Of course, there's going to be villagers that are gathering gold or stone that are also generating that silver. So the real number of passive generation is probably quite a bit lower than that. He's now going to pick up the last of this gold back in the base as well. And the longer that it goes from this point here, the better it gets for Chuck. If this fight, I mean, it's hard to call, because our English player, he's just going to play attrition, which is exactly what he wants. And I mean, he can do it. He's got the sacred site, so all he needs to do is just chill on the sacred site, sit there. This is interesting. There's no way he just gets this off, because this is absolutely your win condition right now. It's not so much that you're winning with the sacred sites, it's that you're pressuring your opponent to attack into you. That's what you want to happen. You don't really want to go into your opponent, because it's going to mean their reinforcements are closer to you and yours are further away from them. A little bit of a raid back here, but it looks like the sacred site will be neutralized. No, it will not. The villager stands on it. A couple of horsemen now rallied in. He's going to need to commit more than that if he wants to try and knock it out. Now Cataphract's going to move forward, and once again, you're going to have to come to your enemy if you want to stop those sacred sites. Longbows, not many of them. Spear's going to try and help out. There's nothing here to screen for these hand cannoneers. And now the charge comes through with the Cataphract. This could be it right now. Chuck may potentially be victorious within the next minute or two if he's able to make confirmation on each of these kills on the backline. He's moving up with the hand cannon. His beautiful positioning right here. He's making sure he follows. He's got that beautiful spread of attack moving here, taking out 3 at a time. Hand cannon is doing absolute work, and as long as we're rallying in 1 unit at a time here from our English player, he'll be fine. And indeed he is. And now falling back into, oh god, the Berkshire. You know, I initially questioned it. I'm like, why is he going for a Berkshire? And then it kind of made sense, because if he didn't go for a Berkshire, he probably died. But now, once again, we see how powerful that Berkshire is. It's just one of those things that you can't really go into. You can't attack under it unless you've got a plan. And that's the key component here. But now we start to see palisade walls coming up over on that east sacred site. West sacred site, I think he probably could have neutralized this if he actually was looking for it. But unfortunately, not going to be the case here. Radari now pushing forward, Cataphracts as well. The economy of the English versus the units of the Macedonians. That is it, but in the end, It looks like these spears are going to be more than enough to surround these cavalry units. Hand cannoneers not able to clear them out fast enough. And you can see at this stage of the game, we got 140 population versus 196. And this is exactly what our English player wanted. When you come to the English player, look how close these reinforcements are. They are all right here. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Absolutely played perfectly by our English player today. I don't think he made a single mistake other than the crossbows, but we'll allow it. Anyway, we'll leave it there and we'll catch you in the next one. Make sure you check out Outback Octagon and make sure you check out these creators. Link in the description.